Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves, an academic advisor at Arkansas State University. Well, today's show is all about our students here in the Creative Media Production Program at Arkansas State and the amazing work that they're doing. In our second segment, we'll have students from our Video Production 3 class on the show to talk about a couple of upcoming documentaries that we'll see later in the semester. In today's first segment, though, we'll talk about all things ASU-TV with the current station manager, Tristan Harlen, and ASU-TV sports producer, Cooper Melder. And thank you both for joining me here on A-State Connections.
Hey, thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, I'll tell you, it is great to be able to talk with you all about ASU-TV. So kind of tell us about Tristan first, some of the changes that are going on. I think you've been hiring some new people and new things are going on. Really exciting time now for ASU-TV.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we just hired two new producers, Julia McKee and Christian Wilcox. Of course, Christian, who's already been on ASU-TV with his established show, The Ripoff, and Julia, who is currently working for Peyton Burr and the in-house creative at A-State Athletics. And both of them bring a new and kind of different flavor to ASU-TV that's going to help kind of not rebrand ASU-TV, but kind of help ASU-TV continue for the next 2 to 3 years, 4 years after Cooper and I graduate.
Yeah, because that's important to be able to start, thinking, now, immediately. And even when they come in and you all graduate, which that's going to be so sad when you all graduate, but when you all do, we got to keep it going, keep more people coming in. So,
right.
You all excited about graduation?
Yes, and it's kind of like one of those, it's like, man, this has gone by quick. It feels like yesterday, me and Tristan were going to Mr. Sullivan's door, knocking on his office, saying, we want to do a sports show. We want to pick up Red Wolf Roundtable. And now it's about March. We got 2 more months left, and then we're off to the real world.
So when did y'all start that? About 3 years ago, was it?
Freshman year.
Freshman year.
About
Wow.
November, late October. So
tell us, Cooper, about the sports areas that you're working on right now, sports producer, and some of the things that you're doing with ASU-TV.
So during the fall, we do West Side football productions. We go to West Side, and me and Tristan, we call the games. Normally, we will have the ASU-TV trailer, and we can run replay graphics, TD through there, switch through cameras. So we did that in the fall, and then as the winter, spring time has came around, it's slowed down a little bit, but there are some opportunities that we're talking about that we're looking to push through ASU-TV. We're just going to have to wait and see on that part.
Yeah, so big surprises could be coming.
Yes.
Just got to get all those things kind of finalized. And I think what's really good about ASU-TV is that you have that opportunity and students have the opportunity to be as creative as they want to be. You've seen shows like Walled and other shows have been on ASU-TV and that. Any kind of a sneak preview on any upcoming shows or upcoming episodes of things we might be able to be looking at?
Well, and Cooper can attest to this, but there's some works between us at ASU-TV and a certain local celebrity that does a morning show. I'm not going to reveal any names, but if you know, you know. But if that plan happens, then I think it'll be kind of a groundbreaking thing for ASU-TV and something that could look to continue on during the spring or possibly in the winter months. Because after we do West Side Productions, of course, there's not much use that we really do with the trailers outside of some of the video production classes that do. I think it's Bluegrass Mondays or stuff like that. So if it works. If it works, it works. If not, there's always another opportunity around the corner that we could always explore. But I would not be comfortable sitting here if I did not give a quick shout out to Dustin Sullivan. I mean, when I tell you that man has put up with us for 4 years, year after year with no questions asked, there is nobody, of course, with exception of a few, that I'm more grateful for on this campus than Dustin Sullivan.
Yeah, oh, he's fantastic. And
He
of course,
is.
he is the instructor of this video production one class of all the students that are running the show. So definitely big shout out going out to Dustin for sure. Mr. Sullivan, we appreciate you, sir. One of the things I wanted to ask you is if you have students that are interested in maybe getting involved in ASU TV and they just don't know where to start, they don't know about how any of this works and all that, how do you all work with students to be able to kind of get them involved and get them ready to roll?
So what I really like to tell kids is come in with an open mind. Just be ready to learn. I'll ask you, okay, what are your interests in? What do you want to learn? Do you want to be in front of the camera or do you want to be in the behind the scenes area? So if you are nervous, you can just come to one of our shows, anything like that. There's 3 of them going on. And you could kind of sit back, see what's all goes on in preparation, how we can get from on camera to live on air. And so just come in with an open mind and don't be afraid. If you mess up, you mess up. I mean, me and Tristan have messed up multiple times, but, that's just the way life goes.
Yeah.
And so if you want to do a show, you have so many opportunities you can do. You just have to want to work and want to do it. If you come in with the mindset of this is a show I want to do, I want to do this, this, and this, then you'll be great. But even if you don't know what show you want, there are shows out there like A-State Arcade that you could pick up, or ASU-TV Tonight that still hasn't get picked up. There's already established shows that you could use, or you could, go off and do your own show.
Yeah. One thing about the sports area, I know you all both have been working in sports, hosting the shows. We really appreciate the work that y'all have done on that. Probably when you first started this, all we see if like we're watching a show similar to what you all do is all the result of all the work, the behind the scenes work that goes on and grabbing B-roll footage, being able to do all that, write scripts and all of those things. Now that you've had your hand in it for a couple of years and all that, let's go back a little bit to when you learned about all the behind the scenes stuff and all that. Did it give you a better appreciation for things and how much prep goes into all of that? Because I know that, as we said, there's so much that goes into it that people may not even realize.
Right. So, and I can't speak on Cooper's behalf entirely, but I know we've both been blessed to, kind of have other opportunities within sports outside of ASU TV with Arkansas State Athletics. Cooper shooting highlight B-roll for Peyton Burr with the in-house creative, and myself with the ESPN Plus Productions. Just once you see kind of different prep work and you deal with different people and different attitudes about the sports broadcasting industry, I mean, you really get a deep sense of preparation because we started doing the Red Bull Roundtable, for example, freshman year, and it was, okay, here's how it was done in the past. How can we make it better? Because if you're not doing something to make it better or better than it's ever been, then you really don't need to be doing it. So we sat down, we met between the two of us our freshman year, said, okay, here's how we're going to do this. And there was nerves that first episode. I remember when we did a sketch, and Cooper still had his long hair. And he threw a sweatshirt on a camera, and it transitioned to the old set, which, again, that's a conversation for another day. But just from where we started to where we are today, just it's a night and day difference that I'm super appreciative and super, super glad we got to experience here at Arkansas State.
Yeah, Cooper?
Yeah, and so when it comes to the prep work, I remember when we first started, we really didn't know what we were doing. It was Mr. Sullivan. He was saying, okay, I have these graphics, because he would ask us, what do we want to talk about the show? And he was like, and we would tell him, he was like, okay, I made you all these graphics, this, and that. And then, we both started to learn, and the biggest thing we did for our first show was, not the first show, but the biggest thing we did that year was the March Madness special. We actually got in front of the green screen over there and had our own little bracketology breakdown. And so it just takes time. You just have to learn, because now it's kind of, I don't even realize how much work we really put into the show. It's like we come in, we know what to do, and then we get everything ready. We come out here, do a show. We'll talk to Mr. Sullivan. We're like, how do you think we did? He's like, it looks like y'all know how to run a show.
Which is going to be very helpful when you all get out. So when you all leave Arkansas State, what are you all wanting to do and to do in the next part of your life?
I'll let you go first,
Okay.
brother.
So when I first got to Arkansas State, I was really focused on my whole goal was I want to do play-by-play or color commentating for football, basketball, whatever it is. That's my whole mindset. That's all I want to do. Nothing's going to change my mind. And then I got here, and I'm like, okay, now I have some more options. I got in, like Tristan was saying, I worked for in-house creative media team shooting B-roll highlights, and I really found the love of shooting video because I'm right there on the court, right there on the field in front of the action of the game, and getting to catch highlights of sports, doing things I love. So, I wouldn't mind being in front of a camera, but also won't mind if I'm behind a camera shooting highlights on the field.
Yeah, because I think the more that you know behind the scenes makes you better in front of the camera.
For sure.
Before we take a break, what would you like to do, Tristan?
I mean, the goal has been play-by-play commentator since I was a junior in high school. I mean, I've ventured out and done things with Williams Baptist University with their new athletic director, Mitch Mathis, and I've heard good feedback. I've heard that I'm good at it. I've heard I'm good at doing play-by-play commentary from a handful of sources. So, I mean, that's the goal. If it doesn't work out that way, I don't necessarily have a backup plan because I'm dead set of being a play-by-play commentator.
Right.
But with the way the sports media industry is today, like just because I'm not on an ESPN doesn't mean I'm a failure. Like there's different avenues I can explore because I mean, at the end of the day, I can go to the WWE and and put on a gimmick or a character and be a play-by-play guy if I absolutely have to.
Yeah, well, the more tools you have in the shed, it definitely helps you out. And I think one thing also that's important to remember is that what you may start off with doing immediately, or what you want to do eventually, may not be what you start off with. You have to work your way up in the industry to be able to do that.
100%.
So. Yes. But I'm so proud of both of you, seriously, and the work that you all have been doing here at ASU-TV. Just great guys in general. So thank you all for being here for this first segment. We always appreciate your willingness to be on. So thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we want to thank Tristan Harlen and also Cooper Melder for joining us here today on A-State Connections. And after this commercial break, we'll talk to two students involved in the productions of two of the upcoming documentaries that are being produced in the Video Production 3 course. We'll be right back after this.
Students should watch ASU TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections. Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves. Well, today we continue our conversation with some of our fine students in the Creative Media Production program here at Arkansas State. Right now we're joined by Carson Campbell and David Carey, and they're part of a production cruise. They're putting together 2 of the documentaries from Mr. Galen Perkins' Video Production 3 course. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Very good. So tell us about, and David, I'll start with you. Tell us about what you all are working on in your documentary.
So currently my group is doing a documentary called Tuning In. It is over KSU. It's supposed to be like a documentary for like the anniversary. It's tended to be about like the community and, you know, all the stuff they've done. We're going over stuff like we're interviewing a bunch of people who work there. I know our producer and director, Ty, has like spent a lot of effort being like, oh yeah, we got to get people from every decade, you know, and we really want to like sell the aspect of the community, and we're getting pretty good results.
Good deal. So tell us, Carson, about what you're doing.
My group's doing a project called Spare to Strike. It's a documentary of the NCAA women's bowling team, and we just want to make them have some energy for the season. You know, they've gone runner-up the past 3 seasons, so they don't get a lot of credit, and they're one of the most talented teams on campus, NCAA affiliated. So they're a school team, and they're good at what they do. So we want to shed some light on that a little bit.
Good. So tell us about, how did the ideas for these documentaries come about?
So ours was mostly inspired by Perkins. He himself wanted us to do the documentary, and we were a bunch of individuals who were like, sure, let's do it. This sounds fun. So I think at first it definitely was kind of like this is something we're being told to do, but I think now we've all developed a sort of passion towards it, and we really like our topic now.
Yeah, and tell us about what's been the process that you're going through right now. Are you all going through the research process, or?
Currently, right now, I know editing has already started for some parts. We're mostly focused on getting interviews. Like, I know there's one set up for today. There's a couple set up for tomorrow.
I got
at least
interviewed.
10, so.
Yeah.
David interviewed me too, so.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's good, because you're working there
Yes,
and,
sir.
and helping out.
Yes, sir.
Now, on your documentary, Carson, that you're working with, tell us about where y'all are at, and are y'all still in research or starting to do the editing in that?
We've done interviews the past 2 weeks now. They had a tournament a couple weekends ago here in Jonesboro, and it's their only tournament in Jonesboro, so we had our whole team there. We are getting shots. We mic'd up 2 players, so we have mic shots, mic clips. We're going good. I think we got player interviews tomorrow, and then we're planning on coaching interviews next week around then. So we should be editing process about, I don't know, end of March, hopefully, and that should be good.
So tell us about how long is there a certain length, or can you go as long as you want to with the documentaries?
Do you remember the exact time?
I think Perkins
has an
wants
exact time.
30-something minutes, maybe 29. I think it's 29 minutes. And it's some weird number just because of, I don't know
He has
exactly.
a very specific number.
But
Kind of
essentially 30
professional.
minutes is what he wants us to shoot for.
What have been some of the things, I don't know, with the documentary, a 30-minute documentary, you know, there's a lot of moving parts that go into it. What have been some of the challenges that you all have been kind of seeing, and how you've been able to overcome some of those challenges? David, I'll start with you.
So my main thing is, personally, my group, we're a lot smaller. I mean, we do have the advantage of Ty Phillips. He's a graduate student. He used to be, I think, a producer at ASU-TV. And we have the advantage of him. He's already done this before. This is part of his graduate work. But we're like a 4-person team. And I think that definitely does hold us back in some regards, because, like, if scheduling happens, it's just Ty and maybe, like, one other dude, which has happened several times, and it's going to keep happening. But also I think it comes down to my documentary is personally over KSU, which is a corporation, and I feel like doing documentaries over corporations is definitely a little harder because, to put it bluntly, a lot of them turn out pretty boring. And I feel like we're making a lot of effort to get like a bunch of interviews so it always feels like it's moving and stuff like that. But we'll see the results, because Currently, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Tell us about you.
Some challenge, like David said, documentaries. A lot of people think they're boring, and 30-minute documentary is a hard watch if it's not entertaining. And like you said, it has to have a lot of moving pieces, or it's just people aren't gonna like it. So the thing about bowling too is, I don't know how much bowling you've watched, Mr. Reeves, but it's a lot of the same motion.
Sure.
Like, it's hard. So even B-roll comes into play because you have clips. That's why we try to get mic'd up clips. We want a lot of different moving pieces just because we want it to be moving. We want people to stay tuned in, and it can get boring, but we're trying our best to make it as entertaining as possible.
I would think that with something like bowling, though, the crowd reactions can really help tell the story.
Yeah,
and especially in a tournament like that.
Yeah, the tournament was nice. We got a lot of crowd clips, and like David said, interviews are really important. We interviewed Brad Bobo. I mean, Brad Bobo.
Sure.
He knows how to talk. Like, he got us a great interview. We're gonna have lots of stuff from that. So.
Yeah. So have y'all been watching like similar documentaries to like get ideas on how to pull something like that together? Like, for example, you can watch on Netflix or on other areas where you have people that are essentially telling the story without, I mean, they're the narrators, instead of having like a narrator in that, and you've got people, and you notice how fast it can move pretty quickly, a way of telling the story and doing that. Have you all been able to pick up some ideas from other documentaries, or how have you all been able to work on that, to try to work on the pacing of the documentary?
So personally, myself, I'm actually a fan of documentaries. Like, I just watch those. Like, I adore the Built America series, if you want a good one. And I know we watched Monstrosity at the beginning of this year because that was one that was really high regarded last year. And I think pacing is something we're not really worried about. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're a student organization. It's not going to be professional level, but I think our director definitely has like a very good vision, and he's definitely trying to keep stuff moving, so shouldn't be a threat to us.
And that's Ty, who you were talking about earlier. Okay, what about you?
I would say, like David said, Mr. Perkins let us watch some documentaries at the beginning from previous classes, which helped us a lot see like what we can achieve, because they won awards with some of those documentaries. Like, they were great. Colby, he was.
That was Monstrosity.
Yeah, and and I also like documentaries. I love documentaries, actually. So I think it's all good. I think it'll all be good. I like how Mr. Perkins, I've been telling this, when you get to know Mr. Perkins, there's a lot of video production 1, it's like this. You do this. There's a lot of restrictions kind of thing. But VP2, you get it's deeper. And then VP3, it's like y'all are close. Like, Perkins is always in your corner, but you have the freedom to. He wants you to grow, do your own thing type. Yeah. So I love it.
Well, and you're going to continue growing through the process. And so I imagine even when you started the semester, and that y'all probably, because we're at midterms now, so it's probably y'all have already grown a lot. How have you become maybe grown so far from when the semester started over this first 6-7 weeks or so of the course?
If I'm going to be honest, I've been growing a lot as a media individual just over this year, because sophomore year is just way different from freshman year, especially according to your experience, especially with me getting involved with various organizations. Personally, from this particular assignment, I've learned it is a lot easier to email people than you think. Like, most people, like, you think, like, oh, yeah, this person works for this corporation. I'm just going to email them. They're not even going to see it. Most of them will read and respond to it, which is weird to think about, because I'm so used to being a high school student. And if a high school student sent me an email, I'm not even looking at it.
Yeah.
I would say, sort of like David said, I'm really getting more confident in just reaching out to people. As my role, I make sure interviews are set up. I have to contact people, make sure everything's good. So it's I think the worst thing coming in as a freshman, you're like, I don't want to hear no. Like, but no is not a bad answer. Like, you have to go for an opportunity if you see it. Like, that's my advice for freshmen. Don't take no as a bad thing.
So you both love documentaries coming into this. I can only imagine how much of a bigger appreciation that you have now for documentaries, actually putting one together.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like when you watch a documentary on TV, I mean, personally, a lot of the ones I like to watch are like the History Channel ones, and those have like probably a bigger budget than my tuition. But like, it's weird to think about because I'm getting in this industry. I thought all these productions were like all these professional things and all the people like spend a lot of effort into it, but it's a lot simpler than you think it is. I mean, the main commitment is honestly just time. Like, I could make a documentary by myself. It would just take a long time.
Yeah. So with this, you have you said 4 people, including you?
Yes.
Is it the same for you, Carson?
I have Emily, Christian, Crystal, and Dalton. So that's 5?
5?
Yeah, 5 including.
So how are y'all divvying everything up by way of the different roles that everyone is doing?
So personally, for my group, it's more. My group is actually pretty lucky because, like I mentioned, Ty is a big videographer guy. I'm a big audio guy. We have Laura, who is like a big like social media person, and we have TJ, who's a great graphics guy. So we have our roles pretty set up from the beginning, but it's definitely like we have to manage other roles. Like I know TJ's also the editor. I know a lot of the times Ty can handle interviews perfectly on his own, but I know like he likes to ask us like, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do that for me? And even though I'm not particularly like a video professional, it's like I've definitely like, because we have less people, it's definitely like picking some slack.
Right. Carson?
My team's great. Emily's our director. I'm the producer. Crystal does social media. Christian's a great, he does tech, sets up cameras, mics, everything. Dalton's editing. So we all have, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, but, I have a great team, great leaders. It's a great community, and we all love the idea of our documentary, so our passion's there as well.
So once again, you're doing one on KASU, and we'll be talking to KASU here pretty soon about their fund drive that's coming up here very soon at kasu.org. And you're talking about A-State women's bowling,
Yes, sir.
and Civil A. So we'll be looking forward to seeing those coming up a little bit later on in the semester. So best of luck. Thank
Yes,
you all
sir.
for coming on and telling us about the work that y'all are doing.
Yes, sir.
We
Always
appreciate
fun.
it. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of A-State Connections here on ASU TV. I'm Jonathan Reeves. I want to thank my guests today, Tristan Harlen, also Cooper Melder, Carson Campbell, and David Carey. Also want to thank Instructor of Creative Media Production Dustin Sullivan and his amazing students in Video Production 1 who are always behind the scenes running the show. Also thanks to broadcast engineers Timmy Arquette and Aiden Barber for their help. And also thanks to graduate assistant Reese Barnett for the hard work he does as well. We will see you next week on A-State Connections. So long, everyone.